All right, everybody. So it's been a while. Great to be back on my channel and uploading again. It's been a nice little break I had. So in today's video, we're going to be asking the very hot question surrounding the gaming community right now, and that's, is 30 frames per second okay for Starfield, and is it going to be acceptable? I'm going to provide my opinion, and it's very much going to be a hot take, and it's going to be very much probably a my name is death moment, because this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, I think. Now, granted, I have seen a decent amount of support for the decision of locking 30 frames per second for Starfield, and I am in that crowd. I'm going to get into why, and the reasons why has to do with what Todd Howard said and what Digital Foundry said. So, if you haven't heard, Starfield will be locked on consoles, both the Series X and the Series S, at 30 frames per second, with the Series X having a 4K resolution and the Series S having a 1440p resolution. Now, I don't mind if a game runs 30 frames per second, but there has to be a good fucking reason for it to be. Games like Gotham Knights and Redfall had no excuse not to run at 60 frames per second. There was just no reason. Both games graphically were not that impressive, other than Gotham Knights' city that was basically barren and dead. And the excuse they gave for Gotham Knights being 30 was the tetherless multiplayer, but we've seen other games do tetherless multiplayer in 60 frames per second. It can be done. Meanwhile, Redfall, we don't know fucking why it wasn't launched in the way it was. Arcane never came out about it, but yes, at the end of the day, those games had no excuse. Starfield does. And I'm not trying to be an Xbox shill, because, in fact, I fucking hated Redfall. I think the series consoles, while great, they haven't really done much in terms of games to show off why anyone should own these consoles. I mean, honestly, just go to PC and get Game Pass on PC at this point. I do own an Xbox, but it's mainly because I work a lot, and I just rather just sit on my bed, turn on the console, and just play something and turn it off. That's how I do things. But the reasons why Starfield is at 30 frames per second is actually a more understanding reason than what the other two games got. Todd Howard said they wanted to keep the consistency. That's why they're making this game run at 30. He said while the game does target above 30, a lot of the times, even hitting 60 at times, he wants to keep that consistency, which means that the performance mode probably would have been hot garbage at launch. And let's be honest here, to the people that are like, they should give us an option, let me ask this question. Would you rather have a game come out with a performance mode that targets 60, but is very inconsistent all the time? Or would you have the game come out and have a locked 30 frames per second mode that is a consistent experience? Me, I'd much rather have the consistent experience. Games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor had that issue, where people would purposely turn on fidelity mode because the performance mode was so broken. It was a broken experience. That's what Starfield is trying to avoid. A game this massive is going to be hard to target that without cutting a few features, because people think it's only a matter of downscaling the graphics to hit that performance. No, there's a lot more going on in Starfield than just graphics. This game has a lot of mechanics running in it. A lot of RPG mechanics have to run in the background as you're playing it. The game has to procedurally generate planets as you play it. There's a lot going on in Starfield, and defendant people are just like, oh, just turn the resolution down. That's not the case. Even Digital Foundry pointed this out. Hell, even Sony developers have pointed this out. It's not only the matter of, oh, downgrading graphics. That's not the problem. It's the game. This is the biggest game of this year, not only in terms of hype, but sheer scale. This game has a lot going on, a lot of moving parts that have to run in the background constantly. You have AI that have to run not only your ship, but your base as you travel to different planets and star systems. Now, let me put this in perspective. Let's say you have two bases on two different planets, right? One is in one star system while the other one is in another star system. Not only does the game have to procedurally generate planets, but the game also has to run those AI to keep your bases going and your research going and your income going, all while you're exploring the systems. That all has to run in the background while you're traveling to different places. It all has to run in the background. Not only that, if you have a crew running your ship, that's another added layer of depth that has to be added onto the game. Not only that, but there's a ton of different things, a ton of different systems at work in Starfield. And I understand Bethesda's choice to make this game run at a 30 frames per second hard locked frame rate. They want to keep consistency. See, if I was playing this game and targeted 60 and the game kept dipping and dipping and dipping and having a lot of issues, I would be relatively pissed. I would have been very fucking upset. But if I played the game at a lock 30 and it barely dips, I would excuse a few dips here and there. Not many, mind you. If there's a ton, oh, trust me, I'll bring it up in my review. But if it's a smooth and steady frame rate, that is not an issue for me. As long as it stays consistent. And that's what Todd Howard and Bethesda want this game to have, is consistency with not only the game, but the performance. See, in order to get those smoother frame rates, they're probably going to have to remove features from Starfield, and that's something they don't want to do. The way this game is coming out is Bethesda's vision. This is the game this is the game that Todd Howard has always wanted to make, was this massive RPG set in a space where you can do whatever you want. And it has to come with some sort of cost. And it can't just be dropping the graphical fidelity down. That's not how this works. They would have to remove features in order to make this game run better. And that's just something Bethesda isn't willing to do. And I honestly agree with that decision. So be mad at me all you want, but these are straight up facts. These are factual. That's the way it has to be. Is it a shame that the game won't launch at 60? Of course, sure. But I would rather have a game like Starfield be creative, like be the team's vision and be as big, as ambitious as this game's aiming to be, but have a more consistent frame rate like 30, rather than have this game have to remove features and just to get performance up, and the game just, it's not the vision they want it to be. I hope people understand where I'm coming from with this. That's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Plan on making more content in the future. And yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Take care, guys.